Hey guys, what's up? MadSeason here, back with another Legion preview for you. In this video, I want to talk about a new feature coming in Legion, and that's the Order Hall system. These are sanctuaries unique to each class, and they'll serve as your central headquarters in your campaign against the Burning Legion. In this video, I'd like to show you how to unlock them, what benefits they bring, and I also want to compare them to the Garrisons system from the Warlords of Draenor expansion since it's a pretty common question. Keep in mind that all of what you're about to see is from the beta, so any of this is subject to change. I guess a good place to start is how you actually go about unlocking them. You do get them very early on in the Legion quest chain. They're closely tied with the artifact weapons introduced this expansion, and you'll unlock them back to back before you start off your questing in the Broken Isles. As I mentioned, each Order Hall is unique to each class. The Rogue Hall is located in the sewers of Dalaran, the Demon Hunter Hall is located in Mardoom, the Warrior Hall is located in Odin's home, the Halls of Valor, and so on. They all have a very unique and distinct look that separates them from each other, and they're also fashioned to fit and shape the identity of your class. Each hall also has their own unique perks too. For example, the Druid class hall has portals to all of those gates behind those old world bosses from vanilla, the Rogue hall has a black market auctioneer, the Warrior hall has a sparring arena, and so on. Through your Order Hall, you'll also receive what is known as your Order Hall campaign quest. This is a long quest chain that you'll be working on throughout your adventures in the Broken Isles, and as you progress through it, you'll unlock important storylines, NPCs, followers, and various upgrades. It is a pretty long chain. From some casual game time over the course of a month, I've still yet to finish it on the beta. In your class hall, you also have a mission table. This functions very similarly to the Warlords of Draenor mission table. Here you can send a selection of followers on missions that awards you with a variety of different stuff, such as follower XP, artifact power, gold, and dungeon quest starters to name just a few. So some of you will hate this and some of you will like it, but in terms of how lucrative it is and comparing it to Draenor pre-nerf, it's pretty comparable. So far in the beta, once you have all of your followers leveled up, you'll be able to see missions that award you with 1,000 to 2,000 gold. One difference though is that it's nowhere near as self-sufficient as the old Garrison system. In Draenor, with the combination of the daily cash and resource missions, you would be able to send your followers out on lucrative missions without ever having to really play the game. So far, it seems like these Order Hall missions are very demanding. They require a lot of resources to start, and currently there aren't any missions that award you with Order Hall resources. There's also no daily resource cache like they had in Draenor. The only way to get resources so far is to actually go out and get them by doing things such as world quests. The normal difficulty ones typically give you around 200 to 400 resources each. The amount that you need per mission does vary. At level 110, at a minimum, it's around 200 to 300, but that can go upwards to thousands for the more rare ones. So in conclusion, in terms of raw gold, I think they're pretty comparable to how lucrative the old Draenor gold missions were, but in terms of self-sufficiency, it's nowhere near as good. So far, you can't by any means just level a character to max and log on only for the missions like you used to do in Draenor due to the resource starvation. Another difference with this whole mission system is that it seems like it's more focused. In Draenor, you would recruit 20 to 25 random nameless followers. For your Order Hall, your maximum follower limit is 5, but the followers themselves are much more notable and important characters. You can also recruit troops. These are nameless, lower quality followers that have a limited amount of charges, and they also cost resources to generate. And even with those, the most you'll have is around 10. To balance that out though, there aren't nearly as many missions that you used to get from the Garrison table. They do still have the bodyguard system in place. On your mission table, you'll be able to assign a bodyguard who follows you around the Broken Isles. These are super useful to have because with the way the endgame works for Legion, you'll be spending a lot of time doing world quests and such. And one addition I should mention is the follower equipment. This is sort of similar to the equipment from the shipyard, but it's a little more interesting this time around. Over time, you'll be getting equipment for your followers that provide additional bonuses. Some are just straightforward increases in mission completion chances, and others are a little more interesting, such as this Fruitful Bauble, which gives you a bonus 25 order resources when completing a world quest with a bodyguard. Each follower has 2 of these equipment slots, and you unlock them by upgrading them to rare and epic quality. So anyways, it seems like their mentality so far is to keep stuff like this lucrative, but make it so you just can't spam it with 20 alts. So far, it's much more focused on making you actually go out and do stuff to be able to get your rewards. Like I said though, this is the beta, so any of this is subject to change before release, so take that as you will. As I mentioned, your Order Hall also has many upgrades and perks to help you with your adventures. The most notable one is that it serves as the location to actually upgrade your artifact weapon. Somewhere in your Order Hall there'll be a forge that you can interact with, and in here you can assign new perks, respec, and also obtain artifacts for your off-specs, typically around level 102. So you'll be visiting it quite a bit on your journey to 100. And also from your Order Hall, you can obtain something called an Artifact Research Note. These increase the amount of artifact power you receive. With how the scaling of these weapons work, these are pretty much essential to have. They also serve as catch-up mechanics for your off-spec artifacts. You get them in the form of work orders. They take 500 order resources to start, and it takes a lengthy 2 days to complete. And lastly, but not least for upgrades, there's also a full-blown upgrade tree. You'll also unlock this through your campaign quest. This is similar to your talent tree, except that it's for your order hall. Each tier gives you 2 upgrades to choose from, and they vary from class to class. I'll have a link in the description that shows everyone for each class if you want more detail on that. They do take a long time to complete. The first one takes a full day, and the last one takes 14. And they require a lot of resources as well, starting with 500 for tier 1 and 15,000 for tier 6. There's one in particular that's really interesting, and that's the one that allows you to instantly complete a world quest once every 3 days. This is probably the only self-sufficient way to make gold from these order halls, because you can just log in once every 3 days and use this to complete a high gold or resource world quest. And one last thing I thought I'd mention would be the class sets. In these order halls you can also find a starter set for your class. This is just an entry-level set to get you started on heroics and mythics and such. Their eye levels range from 810 to 850, but you can increase every piece to 850 by using armor kits, which you buy using order resources. They cost 500 gold each, and they require you to complete various challenges before you can buy them, such as leveling reputation, defeating 8 final bosses in dungeons, obtaining 100,000 artifact power, and so on. So I guess that's about it. Those are the order halls in Legion in a nutshell. Some stuff does warrant further details, such as the campaign quest, but I wanted to keep this video as spoiler-free as possible since I think that's something you should experience for yourself. So the big question is, how do they compare to Garrisons in Draenor? They're similar in a lot of ways and different in others. A big complaint with the Garrisons in Draenor was that you really never had to leave them. You were able to get gold, gear, ore, herbs, level your professions, and so on without actually having to step foot outside into the world. I don't think the order hall is nearly as bad as that, or as good as that depending on your point of view. The rewards can be quite lucrative, but as I've mentioned, to be able to upgrade and maintain everything, you have to actually step foot outside of it and do world quests and such. So while there's a lot of good stuff in it, I personally didn't find myself spending a lot of time in it. Usually I was only there for around 5 minutes or so when I took care of my business with upgrading my artifact, progressing my campaign quest, and so on. So whether they're a good thing or a bad thing, I'll leave that up for you to decide. I personally don't mind them, but I was one of the people who didn't mind Garrisons, so take that as you will. So that's up to you. I think it'll be a very opinionated thing. The only thing I care about is if you found the video informative or interesting in some way. I also hope you found it helpful. Give it a like if you liked it, and if you really liked it, let me know in the comments and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching, good luck, and peace.